In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Waterman Expert Fountain Pen. I'll go over the specs, I'll do a writing sample, and I'll tell you what I like and don't like about this pen coming up. Blake here with Blake's Broadcast. On this channel, I review fountain pens paper and ink, and as always, I put links to the show notes in the description below. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, it really helps out my channel. Alright, let's get on with the review. So this is the Waterman Expert fountain pen, the Expert 3 to be exact. The Expert line, as far as I know, was released in the early 90s. The Expert 1 was a plastic pen, and that pen had a very strange looking nib, which sort of had these hard creases on the sides, so it was sort of bent down on the sides, and it had this like sort of black plastic, like big kind of like oval shaped breather hole looking thing. It was a strange nib. However, the rest of the shape of the pen looked very much like this. It had skinnier cap rings, which were more raised and rounded, sort of similar to this, but otherwise the look was pretty much the same. Now, the Expert 2 moved to the brass body like this with lacquer, but again, it retained those sort of thinner, more raised cap rings. But otherwise, very similar pen to this. I remember when I was a kid, my mom had an Expert ballpoint, and these were pens that you could buy at Staples, Office Depot, Office Max, those kind of places. It was a premium pen, but one that you could get pretty easily at a typical office supply store. This pen, the Expert 3, retails for a whopping $212. I bought this one new on Amazon, I think for $60, but you can find them, if you look at the right places, for around $70 to $80 typically in this black lacquer finish. It does come in some other finishes, some more interesting finishes. Those tend to be more expensive than the black one, which has been around, I think, the longest. In terms of the differences between this pen and the older ones, as I've kind of already went over a little bit, I think with each iteration the quality kind of goes down a little bit. But that said, I think this is an exceptional workhorse pen. It is still really well made. Let's walk through it. So in terms of the shape here, we sort of have this chiseled finial here with a W for Waterman. Looks pretty nice. This is very similar to the older Waterman Experts, although those were maybe had a little bit more of a textured plastic in there, but pretty nice looking. And then we have a pretty strong looking clip, sort of a tie-shaped clip with a hole in the middle of it. We have the Waterman W logo up here. It's nicely finished. It tapers out from the center of the cap, as we typically see. This has a flat bottom. I don't think it will quite stand on the desk, but maybe. No, it's ever so slightly rounded on the bottom there. Now, if we look up here, we can see Waterman Paris and France. This is made in France, and it looks pretty good. I think this looks maybe a little bit more modern than like the Expert 2 and Expert 1, which have these raised cap rings, which are very similar to this sort of clutch catch ring here on the back. I don't think they necessarily look fancier, but it looks maybe more modern with them flatter. It's a snap cap, which is one of my favorite features of this pen, and it snaps onto the back. That's what that little clutch ring is there for. This is a very, very good everyday pen, a workhorse pen. This is really, really excellent. It's well made. Now, the grip section is plastic. There is a seam, which you can feel if you run your hand or you run it between your fingers. You can feel there's two seams. So grip section is plastic. It's a nice size grip section, good length here. It does flute out at the end. And then we kind of have this after section with a gold ring and some more shiny plastic here. It looks pretty good. We also get a two-tone nib. Now, compared to the older Expert 2 that I have, the nib looks pretty similar. The Waterman logo is a little bit different. There used to be like I want to say it's a hexagonal or maybe a pentagon W logo on that old one. But otherwise, pretty nice looking. These were always steel nib pens. They never did a gold one. Now with the Expert 3, it only comes in a fine and a medium, which is, I think, unfortunate. The Expert 2, I at least think came in an extra fine and maybe a broad, and I think the same for the Expert 1. You got more nib options, but you know, it is what it is. Plastic feed. These are really nice writing, smooth pens. Yeah, I really do quite like these. Now with this pen, you do not get a converter. They do take standard international cartridges, and I believe it does come with 2 blue cartridges. Converter wise, some of my standard international converters work with it, some of them don't. So you might have to just try that. The Waterman converter, it has a little bit different shaped nipple. I think it's a little bit smaller, maybe, so it's a little bit of trial and error. I would recommend just buying a Waterman converter if you get this pen, just because that ensures compatibility. You don't have to futz around with anything. But these definitely work with international cartridges without a problem. I do think that if you paid the retail price $212, this should absolutely come with a converter. There's really no excuse for that. And at that price, this pen is pretty hard to recommend. I think in the low $100 range, there could be an argument made for this because it is really well put together. This is one of my favorite workhorse type pens, especially when you get under that $100 range. This is just a phenomenal pen. It's super well made and it writes reliably, and I love the snap cap. It's just easy. It's so easy. It's effortless. I do love that part of this pen. The finish is really good. It's a nice lacquered finish. Let's do some measurements. I would say 142 capped. Uncapped, looking at about 125. Posted, about 152 posted. So it's a nice, very nice full-size pen, very comfortable pen because we have this big grip section. As a comparison, just in terms of size, we can compare it with this Pilot Metropolitan. It's a little taller than this. You'll notice the grip section is definitely larger and thicker. Definitely a more comfortable pen, I think, than the Pilot Metropolitan. Let's measure the grip section. So at the narrowest point here, before it flares out at the end, 9.4 millimeters, and at the very back here, we're at 11.1. So very comfortable full-size grip section. Now in terms of the weight, and this is with a pretty full cartridge, 28.3 grams. So definitely has a little bit of heft to it. It's a metal pen for sure. 17.3 grams. Nice, comfortable weight. Doesn't feel cheap at all. It really isn't a cheaply made pen. It is quite nice. And I find this very comfortable posted and unposted. I tend to like to post this pen just because it snaps so well, and it is really nicely balanced when it is posted, not top heavy at all. Most of the weight in the cap is kind of towards the bottom here. We're going to be doing the writing sample on the Papermind Mitsubishi Bank Paper Notebook. This is a really excellent notebook for fountain pens and for Blake's Broadcast viewers and subscribers. You can get 10% off with code BB10 at checkout. So this is the Waterman Expert, and this is a fine nib, and this is Waterman, I believe it's the Serenity Blue. Now if we try fast writing, yeah, no complaints with performance there. I think this is a pretty true fine. It is definitely a nice size. It writes very smoothly for its width. This is just a really nice workhorse nib. In terms of flexibility, there really isn't much. It's pretty much a nail. Reverse writing is possible with this nib, and there is a small difference. So what are my pros and cons for the Waterman Expert fountain pen? Well, in terms of pros, this is a very reliable, very nice writer. This is what I consider, an excellent workhorse pen. It's very easy to use. I love the snap caps. It clicks onto the back. It's very easy. I would say this is a very effortless kind of pen. It's made very well, made in France. We have a lacquered body. It feels high quality, and it works really nicely. I like that we have a two-tone nib, and I like the full-size body. It's just very comfortable. Again, an excellent everyday kind of workhorse pen. Really, really enjoyable. The nibs are great, very smooth, very reliable. Now, in terms of cons, um, well, the retail price on this is crazy. It's like $212 or something. Way too much for this pen. Street price, $70 to $80. This is a very nice pen, an excellent pen. You get into the $100 range, I can see a case being made for this, but it is on the pricier side. Also, you do not get a converter. Waterman does have a proprietary converter. Now, I have used some international converters that fit this, but not all of them will. Like the nipple size is a little bit different on this. Most international cartridges do work with this pen, so that part is good. Another con would be that these only come in fine and medium. Do you guys have this pen? Do you like this pen? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more fountain pen, paper, and ink videos, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much, and until next time.